Hi, my name is Ellen Ward. I'm a lifelong resident of Waltham.
Alright, my name is John Chambers and I've been living in Waltham for about 40 years almost.
Mi nombre es Byron Sandoval y mi explicación es por este apartamento. Yo llevo 11 años viviendo aquí y tengo 2 niños, mi esposa.
I kind of used to hang around Waltham when I was a teenager. I used to go to Waltham on Saturdays. That was my big adventure.
Yeah.
Just to catch the bus from Auburndale Square and go to Grover Cronin's and just to kill the Saturday afternoon.
My father was a detective sergeant my entire life. He was the first canine officer in Waltham. I went to every police picnic up at the Stigmatines with my family. My mom was a Grover Cronin's model. She also worked in the office, the Wallachs, bowling, golfing. There was so much more to do back then than there is today for the kids. My parents have since passed away, and my dad being a detective sergeant, the fire department and the police department did a full honor ceremony for him. They all stood on the sidewalk saluting him. It was amazing. It really brought me back to the way things used to be.
I used to work at the watch factory. It was called Panametrics. At first they said when GE took over Panametrics, they bought it. They said they weren't going to fire anyone. But they did. They moved the whole NDT department, which it stands for non-destructive testing, onto someplace else by the island up on the Newton-Waltham line.
Oh.
And I don't know the name of it now, and they really did kind of. And then they moved the whole thing to Bill Ricker, I believe. And I just didn't have a car, so I just
I went to Aquinas Junior College in Newton, but that's about as far as I went.
As far as you went.
For early childhood education, I worked at the Fernald School with special needs kids for 11 years on Trapella Road in Waltham. I then took some time off to raise my younger ones. I had my children quite far apart in age, so that was a full-time job in itself. But when my daughter went back to school, I obtained a job with the food service department for the Waltham School Department. I worked there for 8 years. I did have to give my letter of resignation, unfortunately, back in October of last year to care for my parents. I am looking forward to getting back into that in a substitute type of environment. I do have secondary progressive multiple sclerosis, and unfortunately Waltham doesn't offer a lot of help with handicap jobs, things like that, so it's hard to find resources.
Yo estaba trabajando en una compañía en Chesford, landscaper, de cortar árboles, cortar grama, todo eso, pero ahorita ya llevo 3 meses deshabilitado que me corté estos 3 dedos. El 23 de julio estaba trabajando en un sitio en Framingham y estaba trimando unos palos así en una parte alta y la máquina no cargaba guantes y se me resbaló la máquina y me corté estos 3 dedos. Todavía estoy yendo a terapias y no he regresado al trabajo y supuestamente el trabajo se termina esta semana, el día 28.
When I was 15 or 16 years old, I had Gillian's beret. It's an airborne disease, and I was paralyzed from the waist down for 2 years.
Oh, wow.
And I was in a wheelchair for 2 years, and they said I'd never walk again.
Oh my God.
Here I am walking.
Yeah.
I consider myself very lucky. They thought I'd die because I also have half of each lung. I've had a lung operation when I was 6 months old. I was the youngest person to ever survive that operation. And I'm supposed to go to Newton Wellesley Hospital once every 4 years to do 6 hours of breathing tests. And they print the results in some kind of book, which they give to parents who have infants who have the breathing problem that I had. I'm on SSDI right now. I get like 1,100 $27, I believe. Like I said, I don't get the check.
Yeah.
Because and this is out of 1,125. 975 of it goes to rent for this place per month. And that's not including the cable TV, the phone, and electricity. That pretty much swallows everything up.
Porque son 1,500 los que pago y solo una muchacha que me da $500. Me toca a mí como $1,100 más los biles. Sí.
I could have found cheaper, but I don't want to live in a place where you have to share a bathroom with 10 other people.
Está muy difícil para encontrar aquí en Waltham. Sí, no hay. Y cuando uno encuentra algo, le piden Social Security, para chequear el crédito, una tarjeta de crédito. Entonces, imagínense, está bien complicado para hallar un apartamento. Yo fui donde un señor que es un señor brasilero y me dice, sí te voy a rentar el apartamento. Era un apartamento de 2 cuartos, sala y cocina en 1,250. Pero cuando me vio los niños me dijo que no me lo podía rentar porque tenía plomo.
I've had problems with housing. I'm on Section 8. I have a bug infestation. I've contacted them several times. I was literally told by housing to move. Why did I move in? I mean, just answers that just blew me away, that I never expected. I thought I had housing. I called the Board of Health. I was protected. They would have my back. Unfortunately, to my shock, that is not the case in Waltham.
I was on housing. As a matter of fact, I was kicked out of housing because I wasn't supposed to have any guests with me, and I had a girl who my girlfriend who I lived with. She woke up one morning and her blood was coming out of her nose. I figured she was picking it or something, I don't know. But, and then she went to the hospital after 3 mornings in a row. It was like a bad rose. Turned out she had cancer. I drove her to chemo. This is when I had a car, obviously. A couple times a week at Mount Auburn Hospital. And I thought she was getting better. She came back and everything. Turns out it wasn't really, it didn't take. And next thing I know, she's in a hospice. She has to move away from me, stay with her mother, and then she couldn't even stay with her mother. She had to go to the hospice, and that was that. I didn't know how bad it was actually. She died within a year of when she first found out she had it, and so I didn't realize how bad it was. I figured, well, she's going to be with me a few more years anyway. And I liked staying with her, but until I couldn't take care of her anymore, she had to go to a hospice. And so, because I was living with her, and so I don't even know if I'm eligible anymore for any more housing, but I wouldn't change it.
It took me 8 months to find a 3-bedroom in Waltham that would accept my voucher. I called the housing department several times. It was the only one in 8 months that was a 3-bedroom. I had to take it. It was in bad condition. I fixed it up with my own resources. At the time I was caring for my ailing mother. Within a couple weeks, I realized the oven part of my stove did not work. I was seeing cockroaches during the day, all times a day. My children and myself started waking up with bites on our bodies.
Yo le enseñé una carta que me dio mi guacho y desde esa vez ya no se presenta ya. En la carta decía de que si supuestamente él me había dicho que le firmara un contrato y como no se lo firmé no podía subirme la renta, porque el primer mes que viví me dijo que tenía 12 personas y yo lo entré y le dije, mira los cuartos, no hay camas para que vivan todas esas personas aquí y no cabemos, entonces yo no te puedo dar ese dinero, le dije, porque él no quería 550 y quería $300 por el agua, que iba a gastar mucha agua. Y yo le dije, las personas que me dijiste están 4 personas. Y a él le dijeron que 12 personas. Entonces esa vez le pagué 300 de agua y no me dio recibo. Entonces yo le dije que sí, nunca más iba a pagar más. Y él ya no me cobró agua, pero el primer mes sí me cobró $300. Y ya no me cobró más, pero no me da recibo para la renta, para ninguna cosa que le doy dinero, no me da recibo. Entonces yo hasta compré el paquetillo para que me firme un recibo. Y me dice, que siempre me pone una excusa, que tengo el carro encendido y que ya me voy. Entonces eso está mal porque me entiende. Él puede decir que yo no le he pagado renta y sin ningún recibo, ¿cómo le voy a decir yo sí, yo te he pagado la renta? Entonces es uno de los problemas. A mí en todos los lugares, con todos los dueños de apartamentos me han dado recibo y él no me ha dado recibo. Cuando yo me mudé aquí, la tina estaba toda negra, estaba todo sucio y yo le dije que si lo iba a cambiar y me dijo no, solo quiere limpiado. Entonces yo le dije, yo me comprometo de lijarlo y tú me compras un spray para pintarla que quede bien blanca. Y me dijo sí, pero me dijo que yo comprara el spray. Entonces imagínense, ya después no me iba a dar ese dinero, entonces ni lo trajo y ni me dijo que me tomara el dinero. Entonces así se quedó de negro, está escartillándose de aquí, mire, todo el azulejo se le va. Está demasiado negro. Estoy sufriendo bastante por eso, por mi hijo que tiene asma. Entonces.
El baño fue también la suciedad.
So what is this room? Do you want to tell me what this room is?
What?
What room? Whose room is this?
Mine. Want to stay over there?
It's okay.
Okay.
Who lives here? Just you?
Yeah.
Do you live by yourself here? Or your mom and dad?
Here I sleeps my daddy and my mom, and here I sleep Christopher and me.
You guys all sleep in the same room together?
Yeah.
I have 3 children total. My oldest is 27. Then I have a 19-year-old and a 12-year-old. They all went to Waltham schools. My daughter actually got a scholarship from Waltham High School for scoring top 25% on her MCAS testing.
Oh,
So
wow.
that was great.
Congratulations. Yeah.
I also have a grandson that's 4 years old. But I can't see him much because I can't bring him to my house. Sorry. I don't feel that it's safe for my grandson to come here. And that bothers me because I spend a lot of time with him. And I just wish there was somebody that could help make these situations better, to give us a better quality of life, and not just have this attitude that we should be grateful with what we have because we deserve more. We're no different than anybody else, and we're from this town. We want to stay in this city. My friends that had to move away were heartbroken that they had to leave their hometown. And I mean, we all grew up together since nursery school. I went to elementary right to high school right here in the same town. And I want my kids to do the same, but unfortunately, I don't know how. I've had the Board of Health come 3 separate occasions. I've had the senior officer from the Board of Health contact my landlord and tell her that it's harassment to try to evict me, that she needs to fix these things. It was a 15-day code for my oven to be done. I've been a full week on top of 2 weeks with no oven at all in my home to cook for my children. I'm purchasing things with money I don't have to be able to give them proper meals at dinner time. I mean, my particular landlord is on a housing grant. She bought the house through a housing grant. I feel like I'm being punished for her negligence. The landlords need to be held responsible. Housing needs to be held responsible. The Board of Health needs to follow through with the fines and the threats that they do with these landlords. I've never seen one Board of Health person actually follow through with a fine. I called the Board of Health over my neighbor's toilet overflow, human feces dripping through the ceilings. And he basically told me, I'll call the landlord, and hung up on me. He told me, it sounds like you want to sue your landlord. I said, I do not want to sue my landlord. I want a safe environment for my kids to put their head down at night. That's what I want. I don't want to fight everybody to get the simple things in life that should come naturally, that we deserve to get. And I think it's about time that we all pull together and find a way to make that happen.